Welcome to our latest video series, Broadcasting Gear, where we break down affordable gear for your high school broadcast. Whether you're capturing a sport event or producing a news segment, choosing the right camera can make or break your high school broadcast. In this video, we'll compare DSLR cameras and camcorders to help you decide which is the perfect tool for your production needs. By the way, if you're unsure where your broadcast stands and what your next move should be, check out our completely free Level Up Your Broadcast course in our Future Ready Educators community. Find out whether you're ready for advanced setups like multicam productions, or if there are other areas you should focus on first. If you're not ready, feel free to circle back to this video when you are, and if you are ready, let's dive in. First, we're going to talk about some of the do's and don'ts when choosing between DSLR cameras or camcorders to be used in your broadcast or content creation. The first do is to fully understand how to frame a shot. This is also called composition. It's both crucial for broadcasting and content creation. Strive Education offers a certification course for your camera operators to give them a solid foundation. The next do on our list is to strongly consider a wireless transmitter, like a SWIT. This thing provides both wireless video and audio transmission for extra flexibility in your broadcast with up to 500 feet direct line of sight transmission. The third do on our list is to use some sort of stabilization, and this one might be the most critical of all of them. Whether it's a gimbal, a monopod, a tripod, please have stable video if you're gonna do a wireless camera or something on the sidelines. We will get into talking about gimbals, monopods, tripods in the next video, and I'm super excited for that. Moving on to the don'ts, please do not use a DSLR camera as your primary camera for live sports. It has a role, primary camera is not it. The next don't is to not expect the camcorder, aka this guy, to give you that cool cinematic look for your content. We've all seen the clips where there's a nice shallow depth of field, even, this video right here. Your camcorder is just not going to be able to do that. They could shoot just fine, but understand the limitations of the camera that you choose. The third don't is don't use the native mic on a camera for any audio source. Again, no native mic for anything, period. Use an external or wireless mic. Camcorders that have XLR work best for stick mics and other XLR types of microphones, and your DSLR has the mic jack for most wireless mic systems. So what we're showing here are just some examples of DSLR cameras versus camcorders in use. Obviously you can see super shallow depth of field there. You can even see it as we follow the players out of the huddle on this one, where the background's kind of blurred. This, on the other hand, is the camcorder at work. And really the versatility of this, that's obviously courtside, but this is the same camera, just now up on the baseline and being used for the replay shot. And then it also has a really good use being an interview camera. The third and final thing we want to talk about is some of our gear recommendations. Between all of us here at Strive Education, Strive AV, Strive TV, we have decades of experience using all of these products that we're going to talk about in the field. And one of the things that we learned right off the bat was it's a whole lot easier to stay with the same brand of cameras once you buy one or two. Then your third and fourth one stay the same. It's both easier to teach, a lot of the menus and the functions of the cameras are the same, and it's easier to get consistent looks because all of the coloring is designed the same way. You're not trying to match a Canon and a Sony. Another thing to have in mind is to have a plan for your cameras, whether you're going to use them for content creation or live streaming. You might even use them for both, but whatever you do, stay consistent. And then the third and final thing before we get into actually talking about the gear, the biggest consideration when looking at a camera is that your camcorder is all enclosed with the lens built in, whereas your DSLR or your mirrorless cameras will require a separate lens. And different lenses have different uses, so keep that in mind. Please note that the reason we are talking about Canon cameras is that is what Strive has used for both our content creation and our live streaming. and that is what we've recommended to all of the schools that we have worked with. There are comparable cameras from other brands, so Canon's not the only ones out there. Sony's got some good ones, Panasonic has some great ones, but Canon is what we have decided to go with here, and it's what we recommend to other people. The first camera we're going to talk about is the XA60. In comparison to the other two camcorders we have in this list, it has a smaller sensor. What that means is it has a little less performance in low light. So think about your football stadium under the lights at night. your baseball and softball games getting played late at night. If you have a poorly lit gym, that would also play into the factor of the smaller sensor. The next camera we're going to talk about is the XA70. Now, the only difference between the 70 and the 60 that we can find, the biggest difference, is that it has a bigger sensor. So again, going back to that low light performance, but also you just get a sharper picture in general because the larger the sensor, the more information the camera can pick up. Big note about the 70 is its ability to record in 4K 30 frames per second or 1080p 60 for any content creation needs that you might have. Again, it's a versatile camera with the upgraded sensor. And then the last camcorder we want to talk about is the XF605. This camera has the ability to do both HDMI and SDI outputs, whereas the 60 and the 70 themselves can only do HDMI. Now, side note, there is the 65 and the 75 which have the SDI ability, but for most of our high school broadcasts that we have people doing, they're HDMI based, so that is why we mentioned the HDMI based models. The thing that really sets the XF605 apart from the other two cameras we mentioned is that out of all of them, it by far has the best and biggest sensor. It also has a highly customizable picture, which makes it an outstanding camera for any application. It does come with a little bit of a higher price tag, but if you're able to get it, I would highly recommend choosing the XF605. That will get you right up there, almost to professional level in your broadcast. Now let's talk about some DSLR cameras. The first one we're going to talk about is the Canon 90D. Some of the pros about the 90D, it's a great starter camera, there's plenty of features, and it has a clean HDMI output, which when we're talking about our HDMI based live streaming setups is a huge thing to have. The other thing we've noticed about the Canon 90D is that your lens that you put on it makes a big difference in performance. The next camera that would be a great addition to your broadcast as a DSLR camera is the Canon R7. Now, the R7 is the cropped sensor version of the Canon R5, but it is also the best bang for your buck if you want a mirrorless camera in your broadcast. It also is really good at content creation on the side with its ability to record in 4K. And then the last mirrorless camera we have on the list is your Canon R5. This is your full frame sensor, your more professional camera for content and live stream. And again, these mirrorless cameras do a clean HDMI feed out, which is the most important thing when you're looking for a camera in your HDMI based broadcast setups. So that's what we've got for today. Thanks for watching. One thing that I do ask is that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we're going to keep publishing more content like this. In fact, the reason to subscribe and turn on post notifications is for our next installment in the broadcast gear series. We're going to talk about tripods and monopods and gimbals, and it's going to be so fun, and I can't wait. And also, while you're at it, maybe check out the last video we did. Really great interview with Ross Romano on why your school should have a podcast.